everybody. As you can see, we have a guest here with us, and we'll get into that soon. Um, Welcome to Top Question Tuesday. Jessica and Casey here with you. We are going to be talking to Sherry, who has done the autoimmune protocol, which is what we teach, who has changed her lifestyles to feel better, thrive, and do everything that she's sought out to do because she's in a healthy state. So just we want to introduce everybody and then we'll get right into it. So I am Casey Kephart. I am the founder of the Autoimmune Disease Formula. I work with women with all different types of autoimmune diseases to help trash your symptoms, get more energy, feel better, and live the life you want to live. So I'll leave it to you, Jessica.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am Jessica Melnick. I am the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method. I am the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions Group, and I help people with various forms of arthritis get back to living their life the way that they choose to, not the way that they have to. So
Wonderful.
yes, welcome, Sherry.
Yes. So Sherry, i.e., my grandma, which feels weird calling you Sherry, I will be calling you Grandma.
Okay.
But we have my grandma here with us today. She is 77 years old and she does yoga 3 times a week. She is busy around her house. She is a retired bed and breakfast owner of 10 years. And she started her autoimmune journey during the, correct me if I'm wrong, Grandma, but during your bed and breakfast times.
Yes.
And you needed more energy, you had pain. What else were you struggling with?
Well, I was hurting a lot, and after I went for my physical at my primary care doctor, he said you need to see a rheumatologist.
Mm,
So I made an appointment and went, and he told me I had rheumatoid arthritis. And
okay.
Casey, I'm not even sure if I told you, you were in college at the time, and I think I'll just keep this little secret to myself. But I had trouble putting on 20 pounds and then taking it off and then putting it up twice a year. I would do that. And I had just lost the 20 pounds. And you came over to visit me at my bed and breakfast one day. And you said, Grandma, you are almost eating paleo. And I said to you, don't you swear at me, young lady. And And then I said, how do you spell that? And I wrote down
Mhm.
Paleo. So after she left that day, I went to the computer and started reading. Oh, for hours and hours I read. And I learned that since I had rheumatoid arthritis, I needed to do AIP paleo instead of just plain paleo. And the
Mhm.
next day I kept reading and reading. And then I thought, you know what? I can try this 30 days and come to my own conclusion. I don't have to believe what all these other people are telling
Yep.
me. So that is what I did.
Oh, thank you for that. And I love what you just said, though, about you'll come to your own conclusion after 30 days. You gave yourself that time of 30 days, which is all we're asking too, is let your body make the decision for you. And we'll get into what your body made the decision for you with. But so as you can see, my grandma has started in the journey that probably all of you watching are at right now. And we'll get into what she actually did to help herself, and we'll get into where she's at now and what she's doing and how she's feeling. Um, so, first question we have for you is, well, you just went into it. What were you experiencing before you went on this journey? So you answered all of those questions. And what kind of foods were you eating before you started this journey?
Well, having a business, so not only did I have overnight guests, I also had high teas and I also had murder mystery dinners. So I was very busy. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just so much easier to do drive through for Italian beef sandwich and all those other things that I thought were nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the whole grain breads were the right thing, and they weren't. But we all learn at different stages. And so I learned I had to clean out my pantry when I started and shop entirely different. And I will say, I did have a lady working for me. On her to do list was always my food prepping.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel it's too difficult, just hire a neighbor for a few hours. Instead of spending that money going out to a restaurant, just hire a neighbor
Yeah.
and help you get started.
Yeah. So we talk about delegating all the time, and that's exactly what you did. And obviously, you recommend it to everybody else, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I told you about paleo, but what made you ready to start this journey? Like, because it's a big shift. So, how did you know you were ready?
Well, that summer, he put me on prednisone, and each month he increased the amount of prednisone. I gained 30 pounds that summer. So when I started AIP Paleo, it was November the 1st, 2013, 8 years ago.
Um,
And since I'm a very visual person, uh, actually, if you go to Instagram to B&B Graham, you can see all the food I ate on my fancy antique china, different china every day. You'll It'll be funny. I even had 20 people for murder mystery dinner. The caterer did a great job, and I ate the food I was supposed to because I wanted to try that 30 days. I read so much of the improvement and how people felt so good. I actually noticed after my first week mentally, I was feeling so good.
wow. Wow. So it was, you were just in a lot of pain. You gained the 30 pounds. Obviously, you didn't want to be on medications. So you're just like, this is the time. I'm ready to do anything else that I can besides this.
Yep. And and I guess I kind of feel when I make up my mind about something that I'm going to stick to it for that amount of time. It isn't like I was going to change my life. I was just going to do 30 days and find out. Well, I
Mhm.
was so good, felt so good at the end of the 30 days. I continued on.
Mhm. Yeah, and you said what, a week it took you to have
Yeah.
more less brain fog and mental
Yes.
clarity? Yeah.
Yes.
What else did you see in that 30 days?
My hands felt so much better. Now, I had already gotten some kind of a large bump of both sides there. Now, following this diet, the pain went away. Those two bumps never went away, but
Yeah.
I do not have any pain in my thumbs at all. It's just amazing. Now, I
Yeah.
can't be perfect, Casey, as you know, but so about 2 weeks ago, I thought, well, it's been many years. I'm going to try nuts. I love a snack in the afternoon about 3 o'clock. And I thought, I'll just measure out half a cup. And I figured out how many carbs that would be. And I got addicted real fast. I was feeling achy all over going back to the nuts. And I knew I had to quit. And finally, I talked myself into it.
Yeah. Well, good for you. 'Cause I know that we've been talking about the nut thing for like a good month now. But, um, so for everybody who doesn't understand why she just brought up nuts is because in the beginning stages of this elimination diet, we take out nuts. It's just one thing that seems to cause inflammation in autoimmune disease people. So we just want to make sure that it is not doing that. And then we put it back into the reintroduction phase to see if your body can tolerate it. So what my grandma is saying is that she still is finding out that her body doesn't tolerate or like nuts at all. And she finds that through the pain that is coming back and the achiness. So that's her body telling her, like, nope, lady, you need to stop this. You need to get it out. You find another source of fat and protein for yourself because this isn't it. So that will make sense once you learn about the elimination phase that she and everybody else goes through with autoimmune disease. Jessica, do you have anything to add to this at all?
I just wanted to point out, I absolutely love that you ate your food on China. Like that is amazing. Because I think sometimes when people make a diet shift, they're like miserable about it, you know, and they have this mindset of like, oh, this is going to be terrible. I can't have this. I can't have that. But I love how you took that other perspective and you enjoyed it and you made it nice and put it on China and enjoyed your food. So I love that.
Yeah. It's like when you quit alcohol, but you drink like your club soda in a wine glass to make it feel like you're drinking some wine or something. I
Yes.
feel like it's the same thing, like what you would want to eat on this beautiful china. It's like a placebo effect. It's wonderful. Grandma, you don't eat on china every day though, do you? I can see you doing it, but no. Okay.
No, not now. But I did stick with the AIP 2 years. I did not have an egg those 2 years. I just felt so good. I didn't want to change anything. And I think having someone working for me there, it made me easier to do that too.
Yeah.
Then I did go back to eggs after 2 years, and I have no problem with eggs.
Nice.
And I have them now every morning, eggs and sausage for breakfast every morning.
Yep. So again, I just want to give a little background information there too. So we don't we don't tell you to stay AIP for 2 years. That was a decision just because she was feeling so good. She
And
didn't want to, it was maybe a little fear too of reintroducing foods. Yeah. Which is normal because we're feeling so good. We get scared to add more foods in, but it's just a necessary thing we need to do to expand our diet and our nutrition and the vitamins and minerals we're getting. But eggs is also one of those things that we tend to keep out in that elimination diet first to see if the eggs are causing inflammation, because oftentimes in people with autoimmune disease, mainly it's the egg whites, but sometimes the whole egg or the egg yolks will cause inflammation and pain and brain fog and things in our bodies. So, but grandma just felt so good. She just didn't want to mess that up, which is very normal. But so tell us about your reintroduction that we're here. How did that go for you? What did you do? What was your process? Things like that.
Well, I was anxious to have a bowl of chili when in the cold winter months. And so I made a healthy paleo bowl of chili, but with those tomatoes in there, it doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Now, if I want to have something now, if I have it once, I'm pretty good, okay, but not the second day, the third day. You know how that big pot of chili doesn't disappear in one day.
Right. Not with 2 people in your home, it doesn't.
No. And even in the summertime, do a great hamburger on the grill. You want to slice a tomato out of my garden, and it doesn't. The first day, the first time, it's okay. After that, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard because once I've tasted it, then I want more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So tomatoes is also one of those things. It's called a nightshade vegetable. Yes. And nightshades, with especially, and Jessica, you can speak to this, especially with rheumatoid arthritis people or anybody who has joint aches, it's going to flare that up a little bit more. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah. So nightshades. So for those of you who aren't familiar with kind of the wider array of them, tomatoes is the biggest one, eggplant, bell peppers, hot peppers, and any spices derived from peppers, like paprika, chili powders, cayenne, those types of things. So some people are able to reintroduce them successfully. Maybe peppers or maybe tomatoes, or maybe like yourself, Sherry. Sometimes it's like I can do a little bit, but I can only do it once and then I have to stop. And I'm the same way. I used to eat tomatoes and bell peppers like every day in a salad, and I got super sick with my arthritis. And so nowadays I can have a little bit, but it's like a one meal deal. And then it's, it's a treat.
Yeah. Yes.
And we explain all of that in the reintroduction phase too. It's just rotating your foods is important in any diet, but especially with maybe foods that your body is more sensitive to. It helps just to have a rotation and come back to that food in 4 days or 5 days or 7 days. But through this guess and check method, you're going to find out what works for you. And obviously for my grandma, it's no nuts. Her body just doesn't like nuts. Eggs are fine. Tomatoes are fine on rotation. So there's just, it's luck of the draw, honestly. And it's just going back to that analogy I've been saying this whole time is your body tags certain foods with antibodies and it's random what foods it tags. And this is why we get sensitive to certain foods because our body made a mistake and tagged it as a foreign invader. And for my grandma, that sounds like it was nuts and a little bit of tomatoes. So, yeah, go ahead.
This whole thing of inflammation, eating this way, when I go to a yoga class, and I'm the oldest one there, so these younger women and the teacher's asking, okay, what part of the body's hurting today? You know, which should we do? And I'm always the only one with no aches and pains. and they can't believe it. And I said, well, it's the way I eat. Now you would think they'd be curious, but
yeah. Yep, I know.
So I guess there's only certain types of us people that want to go after and figure things out.
I think it's, yeah, definitely. I think it's pre-contemplation, like they're just not ready to make a change in their diet. But I think it's also they don't believe that diet can really make a difference.
Maybe so.
Yeah. So I know this way of eating is so different from any other diet that you've probably been on, Grandma, that any of us have probably been on. Like we're talking about nuts. Yeah. We're talking about nuts, tomatoes, and eggs. Who would have thought that those could cause inflammation in our bodies and pain? So when you first started either researching or the first 30 days, what was going through your mind with like, oh, oatmeal is bad or eat more meat or whatever information you found, what was going through your head?
If I would be able to accomplish this change.
Okay.
And I had to do it 2 different ways. I would serve my guests regular food, creme brulee, French toast, and I would be eating differently. So I had to clean out my cupboards, get the new food in the house, and decide what I was going to have ahead of time. Like I made a menu for the whole week to make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to try it. I read enough about it that I really wanted to give it a try to find out.
Yeah, definitely. So you kind of let your 30 days be the teller if what you read is really true and not just some hokey pokey, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And I was amazed how good I felt. And that's why I've stuck with it 8 years. I'm just totally amazed how good I feel.
Yeah, so obviously you're not on this elimination phase anymore because that's just for healing and figuring out your body, and then we move into a modified form of a diet, and you learn your body through this process. So what I'm getting at is, tell me where you're at now with your diet. It's a modified form of paleo, right?
It is paleo. It's a modified form of AIP, is what I would say.
Yes, definitely.
So I stick with the paleo, and right from the very beginning, I started ordering my meat from a farm in Iowa. And believe it or not, he delivers here in my town in Illinois once a month. So, but you can have it shipped. So all 8 years, I ordered this wonderful grass-fed meat, pork, ham, turkey, everything, sausage. And I think it's made it easy when you have that once a month delivery, that you have that healthy food coming into the house. And then you learn where cost effective. You learn you can go to Costco and buy big bags of organic veggies, and then other stores, the cabbage. And so you just kind of learn where to go for the different products.
Yeah. And you never used to do that, like at least when I was growing up, right? Like this is all new to you when you first
Yes.
started.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that you enjoy what you eat? Do you really love the foods that you eat?
Yes. And so I'm a big crock pot person, because some people really enjoy cooking, and I faked it with a bed and breakfast. I had wonderful recipes. You wouldn't believe the reviews that were written about my creme brulee French toast, but I followed someone else's recipe. And it's not, cooking is not a creative enjoyment for me. So I have learned how to do it with crock pots. I have all the paleo crock pot books that they print, I'm sure. And because in the morning I have energy and can get all that food in the crock pot, and then it's ready at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, 4 o'clock when I'm starving hungry, I don't have to fix food.
Yeah. So your meal planning, you're writing down your meals for the whole week. You are shopping for cost saving and in bulk. You are batch cooking.
Oh yeah.
And what was and you're making sure you always have food on hand for you. So when you
Yeah.
do get starving, you're not going to reach for a creme brulee French toast. You're going to reach for the foods that make you feel good. So I would say, in my opinion, like that's the way to be successful on any new protocol or diet, is planning ahead. What advice would you say has really helped you with this?
Well, one thing I wanted to stick with, and I've stuck with all 8 years, is a mug full of bone broth every morning with my breakfast. Now, I read someplace that bone broth is liquid Botox. So I believed that. And I think my skin has stayed nice. And I think it's from my bone broth. So we make enough. We have 3 crock pots going at one time, once a month, and we can make enough for 2 people for a mugful every morning.
Yeah.
And I have not even had a common cold, let alone anything else going around. So I feel a lot of it is probably the bone broth.
Yeah. Yeah. The collagen, the gelatin in there, all of the vitamins and nutrients. Yeah. So shifting away just from diet for a little bit, what other lifestyles changes or shifts did you make to help your pain, or to help your energy and things like that?
Um, not going to restaurants like we used to. You can spend a lot of money at a restaurant, and then I wouldn't feel good afterwards. No matter how good it looked on the menu, it just didn't work out. There's a couple, maybe 2 restaurants near that are completely gluten free and healthy. But that's one thing I changed. Uh, now that now that I'm retired, I have fun. We have recumbent trikes, if you know what those are, that are fun to go out and do. And I guess I'm very big on what time I go to sleep, and sleeping a whole 8 hours uninterrupted sleeping through. I'm very pleased at this age that I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Anything, I know running a business was very stressful. I know, grandkids are stressful and kids are stressful. Um, did you change anything in, let's say, your mindset or your stress management techniques or anything like that? Because we know that has to lead into inflammation as well.
it seemed like when I wasn't hurting anymore that I just um, thought differently. I think
Mhm.
I use the word self-care,
Mhm.
and things that self-care that I'll use money on, I probably didn't before. But when your lifestyle changes and you simplify things, and I'm a big reader, I just read a whole lot. And I suppose I didn't before. I'm more content now. I forgot to add that. I am more content.
Yeah. And do you associate that just with retirement or the shifts that you did in your life to make that happen?
I think it's the food because like when I got stuck in those nuts recently, I realized how I used to have a stiffness in my body and just kind of a general yuckiness,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like you really learned your body and the symptoms that food brings, right?
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so let's go ahead. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No.
Okay. Um, oh, another thing. So, how many medications are you on, Grandma?
Oh, let me brag. Let me brag. I have no prescriptions at all. So, and people find that just unbelievable at my age.
Mhm.
And I have a physical. Actually, it's this Thursday, a once a year physical. I go to a holistic MD, and he tells me, and I go have my blood work last week, and it'll be there Thursday when I go. And he tells me every year how my blood work is improving. He is impressed.
I love that. I love
I,
that so much.
Yeah.
I just think that will give so many people so much hope because I think a lot of people think there's no way that they, could survive without medication. And a lot of people are really scared to take it. And
Mhm.
a lot of the people that I've talked to and some of my clients have had really bad reactions to medications and their body just doesn't agree with it, at all. So they either can't take it or they want to be able to wean off of some of those, if not all. So that's wonderful to hear that you don't
Yeah.
have to be on any medications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we hear a lot, Jessica and I know you hear it a lot too when you talk about diet with your friends, Grandma, is, oh, I only ate a bite of pizza. I only ate, one or two slices of cheese. I only ate a little bit of this, a little bit of that. What was your journey with cheating on either AIP or the diet that you're on now? Did you not do it? Did you do it a little bit? Things like that.
at the beginning, I would feel kind of embarrassed going to somebody's house for a birthday party and then not
Mhm.
having what they're serving. At first, I didn't know how to handle that too well.
Yeah.
Now I've learned how to do it. Now I mention ahead of time, that I won't be able to have the sugar because I won't feel good, and people don't want you to not feel good. So that's the what I always use.
Yeah.
And I always say, "Are you going to have coffee?" I would just love a cup of black coffee. So I turn around to what I can have instead of what I can't have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I got from that is just you don't like to cheat on your protocol at all because it doesn't make you feel good. So you just
No,
don't do it.
not anymore. At first, because I'd feel embarrassed, I would
Mm,
have a piece of birthday cake, and then I realized, no, it's not worth it feeling bad.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's back to self care, I guess.
Yeah. It's a whole journey of self-care, just
Yeah,
making yourself first in feeling better and eating
yeah.
better. Yeah. Um, so this whole thing is such a journey, just as you're saying too. Like it is a journey to learn what foods do and don't agree with you. It's a journey to figure out that cheating on your protocol isn't worth it. It's a journey to find out what stress reducing habits or what contentness looks like to you. It's a journey to find out grocery stores to go to and cost-effective ways.
Yes,
And so
it is.
this didn't
Yeah.
happen overnight for you,
No.
right? Yeah. Timeline wise, when would you say you felt like comfortable eating the way you were? It was like a well-oiled machine. What do you think that took for you?
I felt so good that it's hard to remember, like if it was a few months or 6 months. I can't really remember. I was 69 years old and I wanted to retire when I was 70. So I was kind of tuning down at the bed and breakfast, how much I accepted and so forth. I felt so good that I was more excited about retiring too, because of feeling good.
Yeah.
So it's a whole combination of kind of excitement inside when you get to feeling good and knowing that you're in charge of it and not the doctor and not prescriptions.
Yeah.
It's a whole new life.
I like what you just said there. Like, you're in charge of your life. You get to make the decisions on what you want to do actively or career wise or anything, and nothing else is dictating your choices and goals, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So when you think of it that way, it's not it's not negative, it's the positive side of it.
Yeah, that whole mindset and perspective piece is so important.
Yes. And if you on Facebook, if you follow whole 30 groups, you will find people discussing this, and I just always find it interesting. If you got questions, you can pop questions up, and it's a good way to see what other people are doing.
Yeah. Or Jessica and Casey. We have groups too that go through this.
Sorry.
That is okay. Yes, there's large communities out there just to help you and just to see testimonials and people doing this. And we are not the only two people that have just made up this protocol for you to do. This is science driven. This is results driven. This is proven driven. So there's, even if you live alone with 2 cats like myself, there's still a wide community you can go out to get support with, including Jessica and I.
Yeah.
So last question, Grandma. What advice would you give for other people contemplating this protocol or change in their diet for their autoimmune disease?
Do a lot of reading first so that you understand the AIP, and there's lots of books and websites and so forth for the AIP. And you guys probably give individual counseling, right, with people too. Okay. So get your plan and make a commitment to yourself that you want to try this for 30 days. And think of it as something exciting adventure ahead of you.
I like that. Yeah. Think of the positives and not you have to do this and somebody is making you do this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you're getting out of it. Because you gave us so many wonderful examples, Sherry, of how this has changed your life and how full and wonderful your life is right now, because you feel fantastic. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful that I have a healthy grandma. And when I talk to other people who are also 77 or even in their 60s, I'm like, my grandma's healthier than you. What are you doing? You don't have to be in pain or feel this way, or you're in charge of your life, just like you said, and take it by the reins and do something about it. So you can enjoy retirement like you are, and going on bike rides and yoga and walks, and have the energy to clean your house, which is not so fun, but you can do it yourself. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of this great information and knowledge, and I'm so happy you could come on today and share it with everybody else and provide some inspiration.
Yes,
thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it was
Definitely.
wonderful having you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
All right. That is all for today. Jessica, do we have anything to add?
Just to contact us. So if you have, an autoimmune condition, contact Casey, send her a message, send her an email. And if you have arthritis, contact me. So if you're wanting to find out more about what Sherry did to feel amazing and turn her life around, then you can contact us and we can talk to you and let you know how we'd be able to help you moving forward.
Yep, definitely. All right, everybody. We will be back tomorrow, not Thursday this week. Life gets in the way, so we had to adjust. We will see you all tomorrow then. Have a good rest of your day.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.